order. Good afternoon and welcome to our February 10th regular meeting of City Council. City of Belleville acknowledges we are meeting today on the traditional territory of many nations. We recognize and honor the historic relationship of the Indigenous peoples to this land and acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resources contained within. We recognize all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit who call Belleville their home and support the need for cultivating a strong relationship with them. We look forward to fostering a path towards reconciliation and show respect for the Indigenous peoples who first lived and currently live on this land where we now all reside together. I will call this meeting to order. We are all here and present. Please remain standing for City Clerk Doug Irwin for a moment of reflection.
May we be worthy custodians of all that has been entrusted to us. Help us to be concerned only for what will promote good government. May we bring to our council chambers minds that think and hearts that feel, always having respect for others, so that we may serve the people of our city in a helpful manner and for the good of all.
Please be seated. Disclosure of pecuniary interests in general nature thereof. Seeing none, reading and confirmation of minutes, regular council minutes meetings of January 27, 25. Moved by Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Carr. Discussion, all in favor, carried. DocFest, it's come again. So congratulations, Holly, you're here tonight. So you have a deputation for us? And how many years? I remember opening this last time I was around, and if I asked you, you're probably going to age me. About 15 years ago it started? Or? 14th, yeah, so.
And on to our 14th.
I was just a kid back then, so.
And we do have a little presentation for you. So I'll just get set up. All right. And I'm Holly Dewar, and the chair of Belleville Downtown DocFest. And this is Roz Mugford, who's also on the DocFest board. And we're really pleased to be here today. Thank you for letting us do a deputation. Okay. So this just... Will this just advance or? Yes, okay. Okay, great, thank you. All right, so yeah, we're very excited about the film festival coming up, and we have a lot of great films booked and a lot of events planned and have had a lot of support through the community, so we really appreciate that, and especially also from City Council. This image that you're seeing on the screen here shows our music concert from last year following our music documentary. We showed Santana and then had a wonderful band playing, and people really came out and enjoyed that event. So it was terrific night, and I know our gal is going to be going to live up to that this year. Okay, so DocFest is organized by a group of volunteers. I just move that forward again. Oh, I see.
Touch screen.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so this is our volunteer group, except for one person who wasn't there that night for the picture. So we're a not-for-profit incorporated film festival and volunteer board. We have a strong history of organizing and delivering a well-managed and successful film festival for, as I said, over 13 years. And we also bring in a group, we recruit a group of 30 to 40 volunteers to help us over the weekend of the festival, which runs from Friday, February 21st to Sunday, February 23rd. So those people are often returning volunteers, which I think is wonderful, and it's really heartwarming to see a number of our volunteers coming back over the years.
All right. So I'm new to the board this year, so I'm just learning so much. And as Holly's speaking, I'm learning new things even now. So DocFest aims to offer our community a chance to connect and enjoy great films and festival events. We aim to promote awareness and understanding of important global and local issues. And if you look at the film festival lineup, you'll see like how many amazing films there are that touch on so many relevant issues. It's a fantastic lineup. We aim to support local filmmakers, which is so important in today's content overload world where Canadian content has such a hard time being seen. It's so important to support local filmmakers, and DocFest is one of the very few events that actually does that in the region, so hugely important from an arts and culture perspective. And looking to support filmmaking in the Quinte region as well. And we aim to contribute to Belleville's social and economic well-being, of course, with the festival being downtown. Hope to foster and contribute to the community's engagement and participation. The growth and development of filmmaking in the Quinte region has been remarkable, and DocFest, I think as I mentioned, has been an important driver behind that growth.
One of the things that we do each year is have a filmmakers award for a local filmmaker, and that too is really so important to the career of a filmmaker to be able to get that acknowledgement, and it really helps in terms of supporting their career development.
For the DocFest locations, they're all easy walking distance and fully accessible, which is so important as well. So we host screenings at 3 locations downtown. The Empire Theater, which is such a fantastic local theater, so important to support those establishments as well, as we know that theaters are a dying breed. The Pinnacle Playhouse Theater and the Belleville Public Library and John M. Parrott Art Gallery.
So this year, we're very excited that for our gala event, we have Ryan Malcolm, who's a local musician who is a multi-platinum award-winning musician, and he's going to be doing a concert following the film Paul Anka, and he'll be playing a few of the hits from the film. It's a tremendous film, and of course Paul Anka is from Canada. It was born and raised in Ottawa, so it's really kind of nice to have that all happening. And Ryan Malcolm, I should mention, was the first winner of the inaugural Idol show here in Canada, and he played at the Empire Theatre at that time. So we're really excited for that music and to be bringing people together for an evening of celebration of the arts in Belleville.
So this year our incredible festival kicks off on Friday morning. We'll be screening films at downtown venues over the festival. We offer festival weekend passes. This includes our famous gala event and most screenings. The special Saturday event is a separately ticketed event. That's $40. That's the Tragically Hip. It's a film, but it's actually one of, I think, 4 episodes called No Dress Rehearsal. Fantastic Saturday night event. And tickets may be available for many individual screenings at the door. These rush seats can be purchased at the screening venue when seats are available for $15 at the door, except for the gala and special Saturday night event where door prices will be the same as advance pass purchases. So as Holly mentioned, we have the green carpet interviews with Doug Stevenson, which kicks off the fest. I believe isn't the mayor there? Aren't you there? Yes, you're cutting the ribbon, right? Or cutting the film strip. Amazing. That was one of my favorite parts last year, actually, was watching that. We have the Friday night gala film, Paul Anka, with Ryan Malcolm, Canadian Idol live performance. There's a filmmaker reception and panel discussion, which I was really proud to be part of last year. I was one of the local filmmakers featured. Saturday night special event, Tragically Hip. There's going to be a live Q&A with the director, Mike Downey, who is Gord Downey's brother. And he actually directed the series, and so really, really fantastic. And then the Sunday night finale film, James Super Chicken Johnson, A Life of Blues. So lots of music documentaries that are kind of, spearheading the big events each evening of the fest.
And we just learned that the Sunday night finale film, the 2 filmmakers who are from Vancouver are going to be doing a virtual Q&A before the film. So that'll be really special to have them talk about the making of that film. So we're very excited about that. I wanted to talk a little bit about our work with local schools, and each year DocFest is very proud of this part of the festival. So we put on a special screening for local school students, grade 7, 8, and up. And right away when we put out our invitation this year, we had 400 students signed up within a week. So people know about it, they love it. We have the filmmaker who's very well known, Catherine Bainbridge, very excited to have her. She's going to be doing a Q&A with the students after the film. And this year we have a new sponsor for the school screening, and that is Hawkins Cheesies. And so the students are going to be getting cheesies as they leave the theater. So it's going to be a really special time. And it's a fantastic film, Red Fever. We're going to be showing it as well during the festival. It's about the influence of Indigenous culture on all culture, and about misappropriation of culture. And so there's a real message there, but it's a very fun and engaging film as well. So I'm looking forward to having that for the students. We also, with schools, we work with First Nations Technical Institute, and we did a screening for them in the fall in November. And we showed Singing Back the Buffalo, which is also a film we'll be showing at the festival. So we're really proud of this aspect of DocFest, and so happy that we can do it again this year.
And so it's perfect too that it's at the end of February, because it's not a super busy period downtown. So it's nice to have a reason for people to get out and come downtown and kind of engage with local businesses. So good timing, supports businesses at that time when it's kind of slow. DocFest is great for Belleville. Obviously, it provides economic and social benefits, contributes to the appeal and the livability of the city, brings visitors to Belleville. This year we have Trainer Vineyard, who's sponsoring the Friday Night Gala from Prince Edward County, so we're pulling in some county stuff this year. Supports and promotes the arts in our community as well, so really important.
So we'd like to invite you and your friends to come out for February 25th to the 23rd. The weekend passes are still on sale at early bird rate. That's $65. The gala only pass at $45 for the music concert and the film. And the Saturday night event passes are available, and we are selling them online at downtowndocfest.ca, as well as at the Belleville Public Library, and for cash only. So that makes them accessible. And yes, as I say, on Sunday will be our Filmmakers Award, and that really is a special, fun event to come out to. People always look to see which one will win, and we have a number of great local films that were submitted this year and that are in the festival. And I definitely learned from some of them a bit more about local history than I knew already, so it's really great. So thank you very much for supporting DocFest through the grant funding. That's so key for Belleville Downtown DocFest, and we were successful in getting a grant for our 2025 festival. And it's not just the grant money that we receive from the City of Belleville, it's how we can leverage that, because many of the other grant funders are, it is very important that you receive local support before you're eligible for other support. So for example, we were successful in receiving a Heritage Canada grant. We would not have been able to apply for and be considered for that grant if the City of Belleville had not approved us for grant funding. So it's definitely the dollars that we receive from the city are key, but it also leverages us to be able to look for other grant funding and support. Okay. I also wanted to just to say thank you. As part of the grant, I had put in a request for parking for Friday, February 21st. I wanted to say thank you for that. And I also just wanted to request, if it's possible, to have the city proclaim February 17th to 23rd as DocFest Week. And just want to thank you for your time and consideration today, and take any questions you might have.
We'll declare it right as soon as we pass the motion. I have that in, and Councillor Brown has a question for you.
Holly Ross, thank you for your presentation today. Holly, we have talked many times over the years with DocFest, and the fact that this year and past year, Save the Chill is running the same weekend as your big event. So I'm wondering how, if you could tell us how you've been able to adjust schedules and work with the BIA so that people can enjoy both.
Thank you very much for that question, Councillor Brown. And I wanted to mention that we have partnered with Save the Chill, and BDIA is a big supporter of the film festival, and we have them as a sponsor of a film, a great film this year. But we make time in our schedule so that people will be able to go out and enjoy the Save the Chill event, and we help to promote that as well through social media, through our social media channels, and we do have considerable following. So I hope I know that that's important. And we're also partners with many other community organizations in Belleville, and that too is key for us. It's key just to be making sure that we're on track, that the films that we're showing are films that are relevant to the community, that they're the films that people want to be seeing and having us bring in, but also in terms of promoting our events and the work that the community agencies do. So our Saturday night event, the screening with the Mike Downey, is some of the half of the proceeds from that are going to be going to the Community Development Council here in Belleville, and we really appreciate the work that they do in terms of fighting food insecurity and making the city more livable.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Kelly?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. First of all, thanks for the presentation. 14th year, very exciting, and I've seen it grow firsthand. And not name dropping, but Ryan Malcolm's a good friend of mine, and big star here at Canadian Idol and doing very well in Kingston. I am the chair of the city's Economic Development Committee, and I can tell you this is going to be a great economic driver with restaurants, hotels, people coming into our community. We appreciate the work of the committee putting this together. I hate to throw you a curveball, but do you have any in your past 13 years what the economic impact for DocFest means to the city of Belleville? Do you have any numbers like that?
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Really appreciate that. And it's great to hear about that connection as well with Ryan Malcolm. He's been wonderful to work with, and I know his performance is going to be very memorable. Our budget is approximately $50,000 each year, and practically all of the expenses that we have are local expenses. So that money goes right back into Belleville, into the city of Belleville, into the businesses and service providers here. And we know as well that in terms of our ticket sales, that also, we've looked at in our surveys, how many meals do people have when they're at the festival. So in general, people are having three meals, and sometimes higher than that. And then also with stays in Belleville, there's some impact for the hotels. And Best Western Hotel has been our community partner. Unfortunately, not this year. They were completely booked up and unable to do that. But Blue Violin, a new business downtown, did step up as our partner for his hotel sponsor. And so Mike Downey and his co-director will be staying there.
Thank you. I just think it's another way that our city celebrates the arts, and it's so like global, right? We got a film fest, and that's a lot of work goes into that. So thank you very much for what you do for the city. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else? I need a motion here. Resolution that the deputation by DocFest Board, Holly Dewar, providing information regarding Belleville DocFest 25 and asking that February 17th to 23rd be declared DocFest week be received. Moved by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Chatton. All in favor, carried. Thank you, and thank you for volunteering. It's great to have such a great event.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Next, we have somebody that we all well know is Brandon Ferguson, Director of Finance Treasurer, will be here to make a presentation.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very pleased to be here to present the 2025 operating budget overview. This presentation will be a brief overview of the operating budget that's proposed for February 20th and 21st deliberations. I encourage everybody to visit www.belleville.ca/budget. As well, we have the online survey is available. It will be open till February 13th, so I encourage everybody to log on and have their say. For the 2025 operating budget process, the city's adopted the Strong Mayor's timeline, while also following the processes that we've established through our budget and financial controls policy. This year's timeline was similar to the previous year. However, engagement activities and developments started early. A survey was completed to solicit both operating and capital feedback in order to establish our council guidelines. Those included additional departmental plan build-outs, continual community engagement, financial content development, as well as a focus on additional accessible budget material. As mentioned, the city continues to develop the corporate departmental operating plans to enhance community engagement, transparency, and accountability. These plans were developed to align with the strategic direction of the corporation, and they include an overview of each department, their roles and responsibilities in delivering municipal services, overall budget requirements, past accomplishments, as well as key performance indicators and operational initiatives for the year. This year's plan was enhanced for greater budget overview, performance monitoring, and more in-depth corporate and external agency information. For 2025 budget, Council established the following guidelines. To bring forward an operating budget with residential property tax increases not to exceed 5%, excluding the impacts from the pre-approved Fire Master Plan transition. Also, to utilize public feedback in the prioritization of our services, focus and prioritize legislative and health and safety initiatives, as well as maintenance of service level issues. Also, to provide capital contributions that are aligned with our approved asset management plan. These guidelines were very important in establishing and developing the development of our 2025 operating budget. I'll apologize for the slide, but all of the information, I wanted to make sure it was available to the community. We did have a number of areas for community feedback, and it was utilized for targeted investments in these priority areas. Those include doctor recruitment, identified as a critical priority for the community, and has continued to receive investments at normalized levels, as well as reprioritized insurance costs to be directly funneled into the recruitment activities. Additionally, this year, we've identified that maintaining existing physicians, we've recommended a physician appreciation fund that's aimed at enhancing patient loads for 2025. Roads and sidewalks were supported through additional staffing, as asset management continues to be a strategic priority for the corporation. Roads and other core infrastructure are key priorities in the capital budget, and maintenance identified in operating. Ensuring sufficient capital contributions is imperative to investing in this required and priority infrastructure, and this operating budget has aligned these contributions to the city's asset management planning initiatives. 2025 investments show a strong commitment to align the budget initiatives with the needs of the community and the established guidelines. Outlined in the above graph is the increased tax requirements for the year, which total $11.9 million before growth. Base adjustments identified as Category B here account for $6.4 million, or 5.07%. Items of significance include the pre-approved Fire Master Plan, annualized prior year approvals, contract service and wage agreements, and the reduction of supplemental tax revenues. City boards include police and library and have increases totaling approximately $3 million. These are heavily related to increased policing services for the year. Where reasonable, special purpose body external agency costs have been managed through the utilization of one-time funding, and provincially mandated services are estimated at just under $1 million increase for Hastings County service provisions. The remaining issues, these relate to city departments. Legislative compliance items have been the most significant increase and is largely attributable to the capital contributions discussed. Also of note, I draw your attention to the tax relief measures. It is proposed that the funding from the automated speed enforcement revenues is applied to offset the Bridge Integrated Hub project. So the city levies its residents' taxes based on the services that they're provided. This is a process referred to as area rating, and this year there will be 5 different area rated tables. For each table, the same core rate is applied to all residents for services delivered to the municipality on a broad basis. These would include things such as snow plowing, road maintenance, recreational services, and general government. Specific services billed are based on the area, and those include police, fire, transit, and street lighting. With the pre-approval of the fire master plan, the city is transitioning a section of the Campton rural area to urban fire services. With this shift of assessment, the service costs for both urban tax billing areas will see relief in annual taxes as the rural properties are transitioned to the urban fire, as the rural properties that are transitioning. Those in the rural tax billing area will see an increase as the transitioning properties will no longer be contributing towards rural fire service costs. The transitioning rural to urban properties identified in blue will see the largest increase as they will now be contributing towards the urban level of service. To help accommodate this transition, the affected properties will see increases spread over a 5-year transition period. This brings us to the main table. This is the proposed operating budget residential tax increases. So as can be seen, after taking out the transitional impacts from the fire master plan, the city is delivering an operating budget that is below the 5% threshold and guideline provided. This provides Belleville Urban paying an actual tax rate increase of about 4.3%, and the largest increase to Campton Rural to Urban at 6.32%. For our user-rated portfolio, these are operations that include water, wastewater, and parking, and rates charged for these services cover all of the expenses of the operation. Revenue increases reflect approved rate increases as well as adjustments for growth. In December, rate increases of 1.47% were approved for water and 8.8% for wastewater. Parking rates remained unchanged. However, a parking rate study is being finalized and will be brought forward with recommendations on appropriate rate funding strategies. Expenditure increases in the wastewater portfolio are the most significant, and these are driven again by required increases to capital contributions. This increase is in line with the city's asset management plan and 10-year capital plan, and is necessary to manage the wastewater infrastructure needs. So again, the operating budget deliberations will be February 20th and 21st, and I encourage everybody, again, please visit the website, www.belleville.ca/budget. There's a significant amount of content that's been developed for the community, as well as please visit on that webpage the operating budget survey. It will be open until February 13th, and we encourage everybody to take that survey.
Thank you. Do you want us to save all our questions till the 20th, or do you want some? Councillor Thompson?
I'm open to questions, yeah.
Just really not about the budget. Is the survey, it's still open?
Through the chair, Councillor Thompson, absolutely, the survey is still open. There's still a window. It's open till February 13th, so if we hopefully can encourage everybody to get on there and do the survey. I think we're just over 500 participants at this point.
You answered my next question already. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brown?
Thank you, Your Honor. I have 3 questions, if I may. The first, hopefully, is an easy one. On page 7, under Table 4, Rural Belleville, we refer to rural police. Can we maybe offer what's the difference between urban police and rural police?
Through the chair to Councillor Brown, absolutely. When the amalgamation order was done for the city, it delineated 2 different levels of services for policing, and it identified a 96% 4% split to be done on an area rated basis, and that's how the differentiation between rural and urban policing is done, and it's just done on a pro rata basis of the actual policing budget for Belleville.
Thank you. The next one on pre-approved budget items, fire master plan and transit master plan. We have a breakdown of what the fire master plan will, the impact that it's going to have for each of the different tax tables. Could I get an understanding of the transit master plan, what the percentage impact would be? And that may not be something you have right off the top of your head, but.
Not quite off the top of my head. It's a 0.74% increase for the fire master plan. So it would be somewhere on the 0.3% likely for the transit master plan, but I can get you those actual.
And is that consistent, like understanding that transit master plan would only impact Ward 1, so at this stage, other than the mobility piece? So is that something that we could identify within the tax table in terms of what that is?
Through the chair to Councillor Brown, absolutely, you're correct. That percentage, this is just identified for the actual levy change of what that does. It's not identified between each table, but you're absolutely correct. It is just on the urban tax table that percentage increase would be applicable.
And last, but under the tax relief measures on page 6, you talk about the bridge funding and the fact that we are now suggesting that we will be funding that through automated speed enforcement. I want to make sure I understand. I'm not sure that what we're seeing out of automated speed enforcement will offset that amount in its entirety. So will there be other funding that's available to offset this?
Through the chair to Councillor Brown, the intent of how the funding is established is currently all of the funding garnered from 2024 as well as budgeted for 2025 is to go into the tax rate stabilization reserve fund. It's been identified previously that those would go to traffic safety initiatives. We've readdressed that funding and identified that it would go towards this particular initiative. So as those funds are going there, it is projected that we should see the full amount of tax relief that's required. However, if it's not, we would 2026 revenues would be needed to satisfy the requirement for that funding.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Carr?
Thank you, Mayor. Through you to Director Ferguson, I bring this up all the time, so this shouldn't be a surprise. For city boards, police and library get lumped together, and that is actually the largest percentage increase of the tax levy in that category at 2.36%. Could you break down both the monetary increase as well as the percentage increase between policing and library? Is that possible?
Yeah. Through the chair to Councillor Carr, absolutely. The majority, as mentioned, would be for policing costs. It's $2,862,000 that goes towards policing, and $121,000 is library. So that makes the percentage breakdown for the increase 2.26% for police and 0.10% for library.
Thank you.
Okay, I need a motion that the presentation by Director of Finance and Treasury providing an overview of the 2025 operating budget be received. Councillor Kelly, Councillor Knight Miller, all in favor, carried. Correspondence, we have a letter on behalf of BTC Fight Promotions, request for municipality significant event designation that council will declare that BTC Pro Amateur MMA fights being held at the Belleville Armories on March 15th, 25 be a municipally significant event in order to assist the organizers in their application to the AGCO for special occasion permit. Moved by Councillor Chattenden, second by Councillor Millette. Questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, we need a resolution that council arise and go into committee of the whole to hear and consider reports and passing recommendations and resolutions with Councillor Carr in the chair. Moved by Councillor Carr. Moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Chapman. All in favor, carried. I was hesitating to put you in there tonight.
So moving to 8A reports, the agenda shall include under reports items that warrant individual attention from council. 8A1, Memorandum of Understanding, Small Business Center Financial Contribution. Report is EC-DEV 2025-01. Resolution reads that pursuant to the Manager of Economic Development Report number EC-DEV 2025-01, the MOU between Trenval Business Development Corporation and the City of Belleville for financial contributions that support the Small Business Center be approved, and that a bylaw be prepared for Council's consideration. Moved by Councillor Chatton, second by Councillor Thompson. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. 8A2, Active Transportation Fund Application, North Riverfront Trail Extension, DTOS-2025-02 is a report. Resolution reads that pursuant to the Director of Transportation and Operations Services Report number DTOS 2025-02, Active Transportation Fund Application, North Riverfront Trail Extension, an application be made to the Active Transportation Fund for funding in the amount of $3,780,000, and that pre-budget approval of the 2026 capital budget be provided in the amount of $6,300,000 for the construction of the Riverfront Trail Extension to be funded by the Active Transportation Fund in the amount of $3,780,000, and by the Asset Management Reserve Fund in the amount of $2,520,000. Moved by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Kelly. Questions or comments? Councillor Brown.
Thank you. Some information that I'm not sure that everybody is aware. I know certainly our residents aren't always aware, but the coming across the 401, whether it be over Highway 37, through Highway 37 or Highway 62, has presented challenges for a long time in terms of access. Over Highway 37, there are no sidewalks on either side of the bridge. It is simply vehicular traffic with a little tiny space, median at the side. 62 has sidewalks only on one side, and they are standard width. What people don't realize is that our section of the 401 and the bridges that cross it were built in 1958. And therefore, pedestrian traffic in that particular area wouldn't have been a major concern when this road was being designed. At that point, we were largely, if not entirely, farmland north of the 401. And in 1958, the population within the city of Belleville was really centered around what was then the main corridor, which is Dundas Highway 2. When I started campaigning to join council back in 2018, it was brought to my attention right away. And I think one of the most frightening things that I actually observed while campaigning was watching a mother with a stroller and a tiny toddler trying to cross over 37 because that was the closest access to try and get to Bell Boulevard at the time. So the need is there. We talk about active transportation on an ongoing basis and encouraging people to cycle and walk and such. So this is just another means of accommodating that, while at the same time ensuring that we have safety factors that allow people to now move without the obstacle of the 401 being there. And finally, my comment is Black Bear Ridge held their public consultation 2 weeks ago, tomorrow. And during that time, they talked about the fact that they're very close to phase 1 coming before the planning committee and then ultimately before council. Phase 1 being we know that Black Bear Village is going to be probably a 30-year plan. But in the short term, in the immediacy, they've indicated at this point that the phase 1 will include 264 singles and townhouses and upwards of 256 apartments. Over 500 new family homes will be going in that will just increase the need for active transportation and connectivity to the trails. So with all of that in mind, I really hope that council will support this natural extension into Ward 2 but also to make sure that not only is it into Ward 2, it's out of Ward 2, so that we can easily enjoy all of the trails, both south and north of us here, and the beauty that all that they bring together. Thank you.
Councillor Millette.
Thank you, Chair, and I have through you to Director Reed. Mr. Reed, in your report, you mentioned that at some points the trail portion, and I understand that this is a very small portion of the proposed trail, which would go under what is the 401 bridge, as it's known now. This is the bridge structure that the MTO built over the Moira River to accommodate 4 lanes of traffic. So as I understand it, the portion of the trail that would traverse that part of the bridge, it would be kind of tucked under the bridge, as we have seen here in the urban area on the upper and lower bridges, the small areas that are raised above the water. Is that correct?
Director Reed.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Millette. Yes, Jewel Engineering undertook a feasibility study in 2022 and 2023, and they utilized data for the last 100 years with flows. Unfortunately, just with the amount of flow that does occur in our Moira River through the peak season, they've kind of determined that the trail portion underneath the 401 would be dry for approximately 93% of the time through June through to end of November. Now that being said, climate change is in front of us, and we have peaks and dives when it comes to our flows in our river. But they have determined that approximately 6 months of the year that the trail would be dry and be completely accessible.
And, I note that this is only that portion of this trail is only a very small portion of it. Would you agree that, through you, Chair, sorry, that about roughly 90% of the trail is actually the north side of Highway 401 and connecting two trail systems in an area of the traffic circle at Canifton Road, is that correct?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Millette. That is correct. I would say 95% of the trail is essentially from Walmart to the roundabout. It allow connectivity and opportunities for the residents north of the 401 to utilize it year round. It won't be a seasonal trail by any means. It's just that small portion to get underneath the 401 to connect with the downtown, our industrial parks and so forth. Have that connectivity. And ultimately with this access point, it allows us to connect to the river or the Eastern Ontario Trails Alliance as well, which is the trailheads in Corbyville, which will allow people that ride bikes to go all the way to Bancroft, Perth, Havelock. So this trail really does open up and gives us the opportunity for our residents to utilize the beauty we have.
One final question, if I may, through you, Chair, to Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed, has the MTO agreed that this is feasible, and they've agreed what with the plans to widen Highway 401? Once we get this done, can that be affected once the road widening, if it ever comes about? I'm hearing all kinds of different things for maybe the next 5 years to the next 10 years, but who knows? Has the MTO given any indication of how they feel about this idea?
Through the chair to Councillor Millette, I mean, ideally, the MTO would prefer not to have those type of things in there, but, it's among us as staff to bring that forward and apply for permits and so forth. Currently, the 401's undertaken an EA. From there, they'll be into detailed design, and currently, we're not aware of any funding for the construction phase or even the detailed design, so it is a long ways away.
Okay, and thank you. Then I will just make a comment that part of me wants to, say, I'll take projects that'll never happen for 200, Alex, because I'm really worried about the effect of the MTO and the widening of the 401. But I do agree wholeheartedly that we do need a continuous and an expanded active transportation trail. And certainly as chair of the Green Task Force, it's in keeping with our mandate to encourage and enhance any active transportation wherever and whenever. So for that reason, I am going to support this, if not simply for in support of the funding application. I will, however, be watching with maybe a little bit of a jaundiced eye whether or not the MTO actually comes through and approves this. But here's hoping. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Kelly?
Thank you, through you, Chair. Thanks to Mr. Reid for the report for the meeting tonight. Just some comments on it. We've been having this discussion about bringing communities together for the last 5 years, and the mayor and some of us last January at Roma met with the Ministry of Transportation, and I believe their words were, if I can recall, the city of Belleville will have to pay for the bear. And we know that the 401 exchange, we don't have 50 million, I don't think today, to be paying for that construction. And we haven't heard anything on this from the provincial government. So that's one of the challenges, but we have to move our city forward on this. I just wrote some notes down yesterday about this after kind of going through the report by Mr. Reid again. Just think of the benefits to connecting our community, better overall health, that's mental and physical. It's a sense of feeling belonging, the social connection. It's vibrant. I spend a lot of time at Riverside Park all year round, and the opportunity to walk and maybe go visit Councillor Carr or Councillor Brown for a coffee would be wonderful on a Saturday morning at 6 a.m. It can be a boost to our economy. We have healthy neighbors, and one of the other things, it's affordable. It's free. You travel on our buses here in the city, you have to pay. So there's so many benefits about connecting our city. We see the success of other areas, the downtown core, the Shirley Langer walk, that people can actually get out. There's so many benefits to this. We have support from the federal government, and I'm all in because we've been having this conversation, it seems like, for the last 5 years on this. So I'm all in.
Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, just a quick question. We applied for the funding, we get the funding, then there's complications with MTO and doing the project. What happens to the money?
Director Reid?
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson, the project, it does, and again, as mentioned earlier, 95% of the project is not underneath the 401. So there's access points to Walmart north to the roundabout, and if it doesn't go through with connecting that, I'll obviously be bringing a report to council to advise you accordingly. But there is a lot of benefits to this trail through there, and the project would be able to carry on to the north.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, but unless we got a connection, there would be no use doing the north and the south without a connection. My question is, if this doesn't get approved by MTO, is there alternative, or is that we just can set the money aside and come up with an alternative?
Director Reid?
Yeah, I mean, if in the event it isn't approved in some shape or fashion, we'll definitely be bringing forward and look at other alternative methods. I mean, maybe by then they'll have a miracle and we'll have a crossing over the 401. But at this time, this is a project I think is in front of you guys today. We'll have to.
But my question, more of it, if we get the money, is there a time frame we have to spend the money? If there's other complications arise, or do we have a year or two to work with that?
The funding application must be spent by, I think it's March 31st of 2030.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Before we go to second round, Councillor Thompson, can you take the chair for a second? I have a few comments.
Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just through you to Mr. Reid, and you made the comment about the fact that 95% of this trail and the infrastructure that would go to it, and obviously there's property acquisition that would have to be considered, would be outside of the river on either side, and particularly the north portion. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and then secondly is that we undertook feasibility in 2020, which obviously was successful in terms of that we could proceed. Last year, council funded detailed design, which I understand is underway. Obviously, the MTO and the 401 lane expansion is a variable, and it's a bit of an unknown. I know that the Premier is talking about tunneling under the 401 across the length of Toronto, and if billions go there, I'm hard-pressed to see how money will come this way, but we'll wait and see how that plays out. I guess the question is the detailed design, and I know it's underway and it's very preliminary, but is it factored in that there would be lane expansion, and then the bridge, obviously, structure itself would be wider so that there would be opportunity to come into the river a little bit sooner, factoring in that growth?
Yes, that is correct. As a part of the design, through Jewel Engineering has the work assigned to them. They'll be looking at that and obviously consulting with their MTO contacts to make sure that we're being proactive on any design and construction.
Okay, thank you. Just some comments, Mr. Chair. Last term, MTO came to us with the design, or the concept, I guess, not the detailed design, but the concept of their overpass improvements that would include active transportation and whatnot. And obviously they've got a long road to look at before they're into a construction, and there's no funding in any provincial budget at this particular moment in time. But if we were to follow along with what they're proposing in their concept, having the trail on the north side of the 401 would be very easy to go around the stormwater management pond and hook up with the infrastructure on the overpass. So I think there's still an opportunity where this federal funding, if we're successful, and I think that's the key here, is that staff have found this funding opportunity, and so we have to have a budget allocation to move this forward. But I don't think all would be lost in that we would be able to join in with that infrastructure if and when it comes. But in the meantime, I can say is from my first term here in 2000, fresh off amalgamation and all the growing pains that that took in, the 401 has just been one obstacle within this community. And hearing lots of families that want opportunity to access the Quinte Sports and Wellness Center, some of the parks, and then as the director pointed out, Eastern Ontario Trails is to the north, and there's all kinds of opportunities to be out in nature. I certainly use that trail to the north quite a bit. You see hikers, you see joggers, you see cyclists. Over in that area, you're allowed horseback riding and of course, all-terrain vehicles. It's heavily used, and it's certainly a tourism feature in our community. And so we've done a great job in terms of our trail network, and staff have done an excellent job maintaining it. And I know we all use the trails from time to time. That link between each side of the 401 can't be an obstacle any longer. You look at across the GTA and other places along the 401, and even Brockville, for example. You can cross over and no one bats an eye thinking about the 401. Here, you're going to take life and limb into your own hands trying to get across now, so we have to look at alternatives. And one thing I've learned in this place is sometimes we can't always wait on the provincial government. We certainly don't wait on them when it comes to healthcare. We invest in physician recruitment and do it quite heavily. And here's another area where we just can't idly stand by. So hopefully we can get some support. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Brown, I saw your hand.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. I'd just like to request a recorded vote on this item, if I may.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Oh, wait, no. Councillor Enright Miller.
Sorry, I put my hand up there late. Thank you through your chair. No, I just wanted to thank Mr. Reid for the report. It was a well thought out report, and all the great comments around the table. And I think we have this funding potential in front of us. Now is the time to pull the trigger and let's see if we can make this happen. And connectivity to the north, we're all one big happy family. I think it's kind of a no-brainer. We need to get this done. So thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll turn to the clerk for the vote.
Councillor Kelly,
Yes.
Councillor Millat,
Yes.
Councillor Sue,
Yes.
Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Brown,
Yes.
Councillor Carr,
Yes.
Councillor Chatton,
Yes.
Councillor Enright Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Ellis.
Yes.
Carried by 9.
Okay, thank you. 8B, consent items. Council may adopt consent items by one motion, but prior to consideration of such motion, members may request that specific items be removed from consideration under such motion, and council shall consider such items individually. I'll start with my left, Councillor Thompson.
No, thank you.
Mayor Ellis.
No, thank you.
Councillor Enright Miller.
No, thank you.
Councillor Sue.
No, thank you.
Councillor Brown.
Item 8B6, please.
Councillor Chatton.
No, thank you, Chair.
Councillor Millet.
No, thank you.
Councillor Kelly.
No, thank you.
Okay, so that the consent items be approved with the exception of 8B6. Moved by Councillor Chatton, seconded by Mayor Ellis. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving to 8B6. Medical professional recruitment policy. Resolution is that pursuant to the manager of physician recruitment and retention report number MPRR 2025-02, the revised medical professional recruitment policy be approved. And that's moved by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Chatton. Councillor Brown.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to the manager for physician recruitment. I do have a couple of questions. On page 92, or 4 of 5 on your report, it mentions exceptional circumstances that may facilitate increasing the incentive to $150,000 for specialists. Do you have some examples of what that might entail, what an exceptional circumstances might be, so that we can clarify, even if it's not exhaustive, but with some examples of what an exceptional circumstance might be?
Manager Post.
Through the chair to Councillor Brown. So some examples of exceptional circumstances could be something like moving costs, particularly if we are attracting an international medical graduate or someone from out of province. If it's a specialist that is going to set up a community practice, most specialists do work in the hospital, so they don't have those overhead costs. But there are some specialists that also have a community practice, so that would be a circumstance where council might consider some additional funding.
And then, sorry, so before I leave that one, is there an opportunity, and this may be an amendment, to add some of that language into the policy document, either now or at some future revision? Just to make it clear that it's not simply that somebody says I come in and I say my circumstances are exceptional and I want $150,000. I'm not suggesting that's it. I just want to make sure that we're using the dollars that we have prudently. So is there an opportunity to add some of that language into the policy?
Through the chair to Councillor Brown. Certainly we can provide some examples if that would be helpful in the policy. We could add that as examples. I don't think we could give an exhaustive list because as soon as we define something, somebody comes along with an exception. It happens every time. But we could certainly include some examples if that would be helpful.
Would that, Chair, would that require an amendment, or is that something that we could take away?
Okay, just a second. Okay, so yes, well, we can do it as amended. So the resolution will be as amended and include that particular point.
Moving expenses.
Yes, for moving expenses. The seconder was Councillor Chatton, or you're good with that as a friendly amendment to at least have it on the floor? Okay, yep. Do you have any other questions
Thank
or
you,
comments?
yes. And my next question, also in that same paragraph on page 92, when a specialist is a regional resource, will Quinte Health Corporation be asked to contribute to the recruitment and the funding? And the reason for my question is the policy currently suggests communities within the region. And I'm wondering if that is encompassing enough for us to reach out, make the ask for support to that funding rather than it being solely on the, solely supported from the city of Belleville.
Manager Post.
Through the chair to Councillor Brown. We have not included Quinte Health as an entity to which we would ask for funding simply because they are not funded for physician recruitment. They've confirmed to us that they do not have funding for things like that, so we have not included them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, Councillor Kelly.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, I did have a question too for Manager of Physician Recruitment and Retention, Karen Post. Just so everybody's on the same page, since 2023, 11 family physicians, 8 nurse practitioners to the city health team, if you will. And in your report, you talked about the nurses. The city currently offers $10,000 incentive to students taking 4 years degree program at Loyalist College, and they get $25 year 3, $2,500 in graduating, and then $5,000. I guess my question is, I'm looking to hear hopefully some good news from Loyalist College, relationship with the city of Belleville. How many nurses have we partnered with through Loyalist College to work in Belleville? Do you have numbers? I hate to throw this out there, but I did.
Through the chair to Councillor Kelly. I'm very pleased to report that the city provided enough funding for 20 Bachelor of Science nursing students, and 20 have been chosen and are receiving the scholarship now. So it's been fully subscribed.
Thank you. It's impressive. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, so the motion on the floor is as amended. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving on to 8C, council information matters. Council may adopt consent items by one motion, but prior to consideration of such motion, members may request that specific items be removed from consideration under such motion, and council shall consider such items individually. I'll go to my right, Councillor Kelly.
No, thank you.
Councillor Millette.
No, thank you.
Councillor Chatton.
No, thank you, Chair.
Councillor Brown.
No, thank you.
Councillor Sue.
No, thank you.
Councillor Wright Miller.
No, thank you.
Mayor Ellis.
No, thank you.
And Councillor Thompson.
No, thank you.
Okay, so I need a motion that the agenda items be received. Moved by Councillor Chatton, second by Councillor Thompson. All in favor? That's carried. And motion to rise and report. Councillor Brown, Councillor Millette, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. Reading of bylaws. First reading of bylaws 2025, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 22 again. So moved by Councillor Chatton, second by Councillor Enright Miller. All in favor, carried. Second reading of bylaws and discussion 2025, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. Moved by Councillor Millette, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Discussion, Councillor Millette.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a quick question on 2025-15. This is a bylaw to delegate the head of the municipal corporation for the purposes of the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, and to repeal bylaw number 2024-117. Is this predicated on the item from reports 8B7, our new integrity commissioner? And I guess I see
We'll give that to the clerk.
I see our city clerk is rising to answer that question.
Through your worship, no, this is simply a housekeeping bylaw to update the title now that positions have changed within the city.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor? Carried. Third and final reading of bylaw 20, 25, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Chatton. All in favor? Carried. New business. Okay, I have two here. I have a bylaw, 2524, being a bylaw to approve and authorize the execution of a medical service agreement between Dr. Catherine MacArthur and Corporation of City of Belleville, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally pass this 10th day of February 25. Moved by Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Enright Miller. Discussion. I just want to say, Councillor Kelly, you have your number wrong. About a half an hour, 10 minutes ago, you said 11 doctors recruited?
I was just reading.
It's 12. 12 now. Okay. All in favor? Carried. I have another motion under new business that council directs staff to submit an application under the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund for the Avonlaw Pumping Station and Conveyance System project for upgrades identified in approved in capital budget item 24-1001. Staff reviewed a number of options and are recommending that the City Avonlaw Pumping Station be a priority project for this application, with a total project value of $55 million approved in the 24 capital budget, with the program funding providing up to $15 million. If I could get that moved. Councillor Brown, Councillor Chatton, discussion. Okay, I just want to thank staff for getting this on the agenda today. I know we had some deadlines, and I think it went through finance and through your department, Director Ashton, and staff did a great job to get that on the floor. All in favor? Carried. Announcements. Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Mayor. And Councillor Brown and I will be hosting a town hall tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. at the Jerry Masterson Community Center at 516 Harmony Road. We're going to review and obtain feedback from residents on the draft 2025 budget. Also provide just a general update on some of the issues facing the city, and a question and answer session as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. Anybody else? Councillor Enright Miller.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have just a little announcement and an invitation for all. As a result of the new Community Safety and Policing Act 2019, which was implemented April 1st of 2024, the Belleville Police Services Board is responsible for development of a new strategic plan, and we are mandated to consult with certain groups and the public within our area of policing responsibility. The Belleville Police Services Board is undertaking the development of the strategic plan for the provision of adequate and effective policing in our community. A police strategic plan is a comprehensive framework that guides a police department's operation, setting clear goals and objectives to efficiently serve and protect our community. We have developed a survey which we feel covers a broad array of issues and questions, and we would like all of your feedback on, and all from our stakeholders that may be watching. You're invited to partake in our survey, which will soon be found on the City of Belleville's website and through a QR code. You will be able to provide feedback which will inform and help us develop the strategic plan and assist our board and police service in advancing modernization of the police and identifying the policing needs of our community. So I look forward to your input and survey questions, and appreciate everybody taking the time to fill out the survey. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Enright Miller. Anybody else? Seeing none. Councillor Kelly.
Through you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to thank the Mayor, Neil Ellis, for bringing back the volunteer appreciation event. We had it last week at the Quinte Sports and Wellness Center. It was well attended. It was nice to spend time with all the committed individuals to our community to make it better, and they give up their time. So thank you, Mayor Ellis, for that. And I just wanted to read the Instagram post by the Mayor. He says, "Our volunteers are the backbone of our city committees." How true. Thank you, Mayor, for those comments. And it was a nice evening and nice to connect with so many.
And Councillor Kelly, I want to thank you for that. And as you're well aware, everybody, you chair your committees and how valuable the volunteers are. And I can honestly say, it's safe to say that I think we have the best volunteers, not only in Ontario, just across the province. And without them, I don't know how we would service the city. But great event, and hopefully it'll continue to honor our volunteers. Proclamations this month, February 11th is 211 Day, February 17th to 23 is DocFest Week, February 17th to 23rd is Ontario Heritage Week, February 22nd is the coldest night of the year. I need a motion for the confirmatory bylaw, a resolution that bylaw number 2025-23, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on February 10th, 25, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally pass this 10th day of February 2025. Moved by Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Enright Miller. Discussion, all in favor, carried. I need a motion to adjourn. Councillor Thompson. We're going home. Councillor Millette, all in favor, carried. Thank you, staff. Thank you, everybody. We got it done.